I know a lot of you guys are doing pay-per-call. A lot of you guys have call centers. We got AI in the house. We got Neil Billock. He's the founder and the CEO of OfferVault AI. They're doing big things. I'm a user of his service.
We are coming in immediately 4Xing contact rates for clients. What we found in my BPO when I ran it and deployed the AI was we had 30-second wait times before the deployment between connections. And my guys were making about 500 connections a day. Times 30 seconds, we were wasting 250 minutes a day per head in a call center.
That's 4 hours. That's half
4 hours,
day. Yeah.
half their day, or half their wages being spent on them waiting for a call.
Yeah.
The reason your wait time's high is when you're calling out, you have an abandon rate you have to stay under of 3%. That's programmed in your dialer.
If the AI is weeding that out, and I think that's the benefit, it's collapsing time frames, it's helping your top producers produce, which is what you want them to do.
People are afraid AI is going to replace call center agents, and it may, but right now, use it to maximize your human resource. So leveraging it for the tools it can be to do exactly what you're saying. Let the humans do what they can do best. Let the AI get cursed out.
Yeah.
Get ready to level your shit up with the LFG Show. We travel the globe to bring you heavy hitters from all walks of life. We've been talking some serious business, from the best digital marketers, government contracting experts, to top athletic and celebrity doctors. We've got it all covered. We're talking to guys who've cashed in for billions with a B. And the best thing is, we're just getting started. So hold on tight. We're about to crank it up a notch. Get ready for next level networking and masterminds within the LFG community. Scared money don't make no money or honey. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like, leave a comment, and let's fucking go.
Guys, I'm super excited today. I've got something very interesting and very exciting for the audience. I know a lot of you guys are doing pay-per-call. A lot of you guys have call centers. We got AI in the house. We got Neil Billock. He's the founder and the CEO of OfferVault AI. They're doing big things. I'm a user of his service. We started a few weeks ago, and I love it. I'm already seeing great results. I'm really excited to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, man. You know? Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. Yeah, and listen, we're living in a day and age where everything's so expensive as a business owner. The cost of everything's through the damn roof. We have a call center in Colombia to save, obviously, on some economics. The dollar is strong there. We have good agents there. But we started using your service to drive in calls more as a frontal service. And we're already seeing a great ROI, man, huge ROI. Yeah. So I'm glad we met. And shout out to Ray Sinlau. He's the one that connected us.
Thanks,
San Diego in the house. So Neil, let's get right into it. Let's talk about OfferVault AI, how it's helping the clients, and I'll talk about my story in a bit.
Yeah, the low-hanging fruit, man. We are coming in immediately 4Xing contact rates for clients. We are taking it to get somebody started. It's real simple. You come in, if you're using a dialer, you're calling outbound. What we found in my BPO when I ran it and deployed the AI was we had 30-second wait times before the deployment on between connections. And my guys were making about 500 connections a day. Times 30 seconds, we were wasting 250 minutes a day per head in a call center.
That's 4 hours. That's half
4 hours,
day.
half their day spent, or half their wages being spent on them waiting for a call. Yeah. And it doesn't sound like a lot. Same thing with you guys. 30 seconds doesn't seem like a lot when you're looking at the floor, but you take that times all your guys, you know, you're talking, if you only have a 20-man shop, you're talking about $12,000 a month, 150 grand a year. You know, you have a bigger shop like we have with 200 people, you're talking, you know, $1 million a year in saving or in wasted money. So real simple, real quick fix on that. The reason your wait time's high is when you're calling out, you have an abandon rate you have to stay under of 3%. That's programmed in your dialer, whether it's Vici, Convoso, 59, whatever you're using, it's the FCC. So how do you eliminate your abandon rate? Well, you can point it to an IVR, which some people do, but by pointing it to an AI, you eliminate your abandon rate. It's gone. Yep. So what we found is where we were throttled to 8 lines dialing per guy, that immediately spiked to 25 lines. So it was a 3X in outbound reach immediately Then you put your return calls, because a lot of those are trash that we're getting back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, take me off your list, or they just want to find out what you're doing and it's not worth anything. Put your return calls to the AI, filter out the crap, getting it over, transfer to the guys. You don't have the AI, you don't have to start with doing a lot. Just, hey, are you interested in my product? Are you ready to talk to somebody now? Yes, get it back to the humans. That got us from 30 seconds to 7 seconds in wait time. So the call centers we wanted to run, right? You're like, boom, boom, boom is what we thought. That's not the reality with the 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I've been in call centers, man, too long. I've been in call centers since 2003. And I remember back in the day in student loan consolidation, we had the biggest student loan consolidation. No one even heard about this, but it was huge, man. So anyway, the thing is, we wanted our top producers to always be selling. You want salespeople, that's your gift. Sell, 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 sell. Don't be fucking waiting. So we had our best people. They were taking inbound calls all day long. Just like this was ahead of paper call back then. So I had a missed call line. People call back, yeah, I got a missed call and whatever. And then 90% of the time, it was like they'd hang up or whatever. But we would send them to these guys, our best closers, and bro, they would turn. It went from 90% to like half of them would convert because I had the right script. I trained them on how to do it. So essentially nowadays, by taking those missed calls, those return calls, you turn that from a freaking waste of time to a revenue stream, right? Is what you do. And you're not dealing, people are gonna curse you, like, well, if you're calling me, take me off your list. If the AI is weeding that out, and I think that's the benefit, it's collapsing time frames, and it's helping your top producers produce, which is what you want them to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, people are afraid AI is gonna replace call center agents, and it may in years, it may. But right now, use it to maximize your human resources. Exactly what you're saying. Have it do what it can do. Don't have it try and do too much. I hear too many AI companies out there. It can do this, it can do that. It can do a full hour-long PI intake. Could it? Technically, yes. Does it sound like dog shit? Yes. It's terrible. Nobody's gonna sit on a call for an hour with that thing. So leveraging it for the tools it can be, to do exactly what you're saying. Let the humans do what they can do best. Let the AI get cursed out. You know, increase your bandwidth.
It's like the grunt work is what that is. That's the grunt work. Have them take those missed calls or whatever whatever it takes. For us, we're taking the warmer, higher intent leads that have fallen to the floor, you know, stuff we can't monetize, having the AI comb through it and then send it, vet it out, and then it goes to my live reps. That's how we've been doing it. And that's where I've seen the value. And then you're obviously the paper call, massive paper call revolution out here. You got some case studies, and this is what I'm excited about. We just did Columbia Con. Want you at Columbia Con Part 2. We'll probably do that in January. We had 20 media buyers there. I think collectively, way over $1 million a day these guys are doing. You know, some guys like Ray, what couldn't make it to them? We got guys like Michael Walker, big fucking heavy hitters. So one of their pain points is that they have so much shit hitting the floor that isn't being monetized. So you plug in your AI, you were talking some crazy numbers before. So let's talk about that now.
So I got a call, or I heard from one of my account executives. He's like, hey, this client got a 50% increase in conversions. And I'm like, wait, so his cost I'm already looking at. And I knew where he was before. His cost dropped by like 80% from humans. So I'm like, all right, I got to talk to this guy. I get on the phone and the client, Toby Macaro with Results Call. Thanks for being a great client. He is taking calls from many publishers and delivering to many buyers, which was, we can get into that later, another solution that we solved. But so anyway, I set up a call with him to hear about this because I want to hear it from a horse's mouth. Not only are we saving you, I think it was 75% on his cost, but you're seeing a 50% increase in conversions. End up talking to him. He went from a 5% conversion to 50% conversion. He was getting 1,200 calls a day, and he was I'm trying to remember what he started with this. Now we have 10 different home services verticals we're dealing with him, but it was either plumbing or roofing he started with us. Again, many calls from many publishers. All the AI was doing was asking 2 or 3 questions and finding out the zip code so we could figure out what buyer to send it to and routing it. The problem he was running into with humans, and he says this on a call, which is on our website, he had 1,200 calls coming in. He just couldn't get the humans to cover them. I mean, you guys who have call centers or anybody on the phone, you know this. You just can't get people to perform their job right every single time. So the AI does it. right every single time. And it was just simply no change in his marketing from human to AI, 3 simple questions. And it handled, for his case, the entire call, which I don't recommend that for every industry. Like debt will, qualify live transfer, solar. We're kind of working on that still. So, there's different ways, start small, go big. We went from 1 vertical with this guy to now we're doing 10.
It's amazing.
I don't want to guarantee everybody 10X, but I will guarantee everybody 3X on the outbound solution that we have.
That's awesome. It's good. It's awesome that you shout out an actual client which has success with it. And that's the thing. I found that a lot of our clients that we've had in Solar Direct or Connection Orders, they're not afraid to get on a show like Dave was the best. You make someone money, you help relieve some stress from them, or they're gonna love you for life, and they're not afraid to let everyone else know that, right? Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll not only 3X your contact on your outbound, or maybe 10X your inbound, but your golf handicap should decrease quite a bit as well.
That's awesome. So let's talk about this now, man. Obviously, there's a lot of, it's been a big, I don't know if we want to call it frenzy or spurt. There's a lot of AI companies. You have a lot of competition. And I have an idea of what separates you guys, especially now that I've worked with it. And by the way, we have Matt Garner in our team. He's our chief operating officer. He came from 5 Strata. They got bought out by Byron. Matt has been part of 2 successful exits. He's very technologically savvy. That's why we brought him on our team. He tested out and vetted out 4 AI companies before we went with you. You guys blew him away more than anybody, right? And that gave me confidence. Listen, I'm not a tech guy. I'm a people person, right? And I mean, it sounded great. I heard the calls. They sound phenomenal from the inflection, the tone, and we'll put that on the podcast so people can hear that. Give some examples. But so I wanted him because everything to me, I'm an easy guy to sell. Everything fucking sounds good. I'm about, let me do a small test, see if it works. And you were willing to do that, man. You made your guarantee to us, and we had no issues whatsoever. It's been working for us. But the fact that Matt liked your product after vetting everyone else, that says a lot. So to answer a long story short, what makes you guys different than all these other people you see at LeadsCon, Contact.io? What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, you said I'm the same. What separates us is I'm not a freaking tech guy either. I hired tech guys to do it. I'm a call center guy. Or 90% of our company outside of the tech guys are call centers. We ran them. I was in debt, had my own debt shop. We did our own marketing, our own sales, our own customer service. Then I transitioned to a BPO where we were in legal and single event mass tort, running 150-man, 200-man shops, depending on the volume at the time. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. It's not a Harvard study or an MIT study that says use this call cadence, or your sales rep's gonna go get busted fucking somebody in the restroom that day. You don't know that unless you run a call center. Like that shit happens.
That shit happens. You're right. You're giving flashbacks. Wow, man.
That was That was the newest one. That was overdoses,
all sorts of crap, man. Getting arrested, beating up their girlfriends, like fuck, man.
Dude, it's insane. You've got to, unless you've ran.
This really happens, guys, man. These robots aren't gonna do any of that shit.
No, unless you want them to.
Real life.
But yeah, I mean, running a call center, millions of calls, tens of millions of leads, text messages, whatever it was over the almost 20 years I've been doing this. It's hard knocks. You're going to learn it that way. And these other companies, they're good tech people, and they maybe have good tech, but there's a lot of good tech out there. Unless you actually know how to use it, it's a waste. So we're seeing a lot of companies struggling right now.
Yeah, no, they are. Everyone wants to save money, and everything seems good. I mean, everyone packages a certain product, and it sounds good. But once you open the product, once you're in bed with it, and you're locked into like a year-long contract, like what the hell happened to us many times. We're like, what? Especially in the beginning, I would sign anything, man. I'm sure a lot of the audience does the same shit. You just want to make money, and like, hey, let me sign this shit, get over with. Then I'm locked into a year contract, month 2. I'm like, what am I doing? You're fighting them. You're getting all these fees to get out of it. So the good thing with you guys are month to month. That sold me.
Yeah, if it works, it works. If it's working for you, use it. If I can't produce, let's find somebody who can. And if I'm not the right fit, then I'm not the right fit. I never want to hold a company back. And I always, again, being in the call center and the operator, I always fucking hated them. Yeah. Like, why lock me in? Anyway, let me not get off the track there. But
age data. There's only a few months left of this.
A lot of different ways to monetize data. Data is a very broad term. There's a lot more money in it. You already spent the money. Let's just say it cost you $10 for a Medicare lead. You make $1 million in sales, you really only made $100,000.
And you might not get paid by your advertiser.
What if I can get an extra 50 cents, $1, $2, $3 per lead in perpetuity? What does that do to my marketing campaign? What does that do for the stress of the profits of my company? A percentage or two at those kind of numbers are huge as moving the needle. So for us, what I love about age data, the hard part's already been done. Now it's just a revenue lift for your company. What would the extra $10, $20, $30,000 a week do for your business?
Absolutely.
All of our big partners are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year with us. They're never going to have this gold rush again.
Yeah, the lock-in, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that you've ran call centers, you were in a debt vertical, did very well. You've exited companies, right? You exited your debt company. I think that when you're dealing with business people who've been part of exits, they know, they've been around the block, man. They know what's going on. You empathize with your clients and you get yourself, our company tries to take as best we can a consultative approach with our clients. We're not just don't want to be a lead vendor. We want to go in there and help you grow as a company. And that's one reason we started LFG Show, create a community where we put good people in the spotlight. And I think that says a lot. If you're dealing with a company that's exited, has a good reputation, it shows they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the exit's nice. Financially, for my family. Hi, Nicole. Give me a little shout.
Nicole's a great person. Hung out with her, contact IO. We're going to do a podcast with the wives. Because listen, us business owners, us in this affiliate call centers, we're kind of crazy, right? So when you have a good wife, my wife came with me to Budapest, fucking held it down. We were doing karaoke, having a good time. We're going to do a wives special.
That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one.
We went off track there, like, hell yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are we talking about?
We're talking about the exit. It's good.
So the exit, it's nice, great for the family. But what it's allowed me to do with business is I didn't have to take the risks. I did that when I was younger. I don't have to do that anymore. Now, do I have to work? No. Do I want to work? I don't know if I want to work, but I enjoy it. And I like the game and I like the challenge. And I get to work with people that I like, people where it makes sense, where it's helpful, where there's a long-term relationship. And if I can't, and there's plenty of people that may even be listening to this that I've talked to and said, hey, I don't think this is the right fit. This is the right fit. And, like you guys, there's other products that we're not related to that I'll introduce you to, Outbound A&I, which is, I won't get into exactly what all they do right now, but if you're not using them in your contact center, it's a 20 to 30% lift, especially if you're dialing out with Twilio numbers. There's just little things like that can really make, you touched on it earlier, make big impacts to that bottom line.
Yeah, you talk about the ROI. When you compress spending X amount, you drop that down 70, 80%. And you get a lift that you're getting your icing on the cake.
I didn't expect, that kind of lift. I knew with the outbound, because we did it with ours, it's just going to be, now the outbound is going to be a higher cost because you're still going to have your humans, unless you decide to reduce your humans because you're increasing connection rate by 4x with maybe a 1/4x cost increase, but you could obviously, reduce human resources if you want, or take on the additional volume depending on your business model. So it's flexible for anybody. I have clients that have reduced their staff 4x because they're kind of at the pinnacle of what they can do. So they've seen a big drop. So it really depends. Our goal with AI was reduce costs and maintain to see we're increasing conversions, which makes sense the more you look at it. And my new favorite thing of AI is consistency, because we talked about it earlier. With humans, you don't know who's coming in hungover. You don't know who's coming in. You don't know from if you're getting motherfucked for 4 calls, what you're going to do on the next call. Yeah. You're obviously not going to be in a good mindset. But the AI doesn't care. It's consistent every single time. So as a business owner, it allows you to forecast within a fraction of a percentage to where you're going to be. It's, so many more benefits than when I initially got into it.
Yeah, and by forecasting, I'm glad you mentioned forecast, because I think that we have a CFO who helps us forecast a lot of things, seasonality factors and whatnot. Yeah. And you got to be ahead of it allows you to be ahead of the curve. As affiliate marketers, as business owners, shit changes. You got to always pivot. is what it comes down to. So the call centers, they're the lifeblood. We sell leads. There's a call center, whether it's an AI agent, whether it's a live agent, whether they're in America, India, Colombia, there's somebody who you're depending to convert that person, right?
Yeah.
So you're really, people go into business because they want to have control,
right?
But you don't have a lot of control because you're depending on your reps, right? So the point is that you provide that consistency. You can forecast based on that, and that's a huge thing. That's we're finally tapping into that feature, and I think that's huge. I'm glad you touched upon
there's
that.
a couple things you touched on there, and I'll try to remember them all. The first was the business owner. When you're setting up your business, let's say like me, you even started on the phones. You know how you want it ran, and then you start growing, and then you start growing and growing, and it just gets diluted more and more and more the more people that you're hiring or managers or layers that you're putting in place. Now you're able to get an AI in there that's going to perform exactly how you want your clients treated every single time on those scenarios. And I just had it, and it slipped my mind on what the other thing is, but we'll come back to it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, good. It's just great. It gives you that consistency you need. And what is the ideal? It sounds like the ideal client for you is someone with inbound calls coming in, or what would you say is?
If it's an outbound center, if anybody making outbound calls, remind me to talk about BPOs for those of you that are using them. But anybody making outbound calls to consumers will 3x to 4x their outbound connections, and obviously their conversions will go up as much as their data allows, right? So, and then inbound, pay per call, inbound, really doesn't really matter. It has to be a good fit for volume. You know, we really like to see ideally 25 or more agents on outbound. You know, anybody that we work with, some smaller, but it really needs to be somebody good to work with, somebody in it for a long-term relationship. Oh, I know what it was earlier. You had mentioned the change of, being quick to change in models. And sometimes, like with ACA just going away, not going away, but taking a big hit, these owners are having to pivot and figure out something else. So you're going to have to retrain a call center to sell a new product. With AI. Boom, you train it and you're done in, an hour, 2 hours, role play with it. Maybe it takes a day to perfect it versus converting a whole center over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, circling back to the clients, anybody who's got high volume phone work, ideally inbound or outbound, it doesn't really matter.
You have a case study. I know you shouted out your client, right? And again, I hope to be your case study soon too. We just started a few weeks ago, but I'm already seeing the increase in contact rates. I'm seeing a reduction in calls. It's a win-win across the board. So what's the best example of someone that's used your system, and how have they grown?
We have a BPO. I'm not allowed to mention their name, but the solution I mentioned earlier, where we did it with us first, and then they were our second kind of.
You proved the concept with yourself.
We proved concept with everything really that we're doing. We proved concept with 3-4x. Kind of what I talked about earlier. 75% drop in cost. 4x conversions, and it was this quick. So 48 hours setup, 24 hours they already saw it, and they're like, "We're all in. Let's go."
That's incredible.
And that was one vertical, and then we've added their other verticals. BPOs, I talked about that for a second earlier. If you're outsourcing call center work and you're paying on per seat or per hour, you need to ask that BPO to show you their wait time between connections. Because a lot of BPOs are really scared of AI because they get paid per seat or per hour. And the more people they have, the more they get paid. Well, the tide's starting to turn on them a little bit. We're bringing on more and more BPO clients, but you really need to push your BPOs to where if your wait time's over 10 seconds, they need to be using an AI solution to increase the connection rate. Really, it's probably around 30 seconds is what you'll see, what you guys started at, what I started at, what most do. Where the reason I'm bringing that up is they need to be using the solution I'm talking about, because you'll then get more connections and contacts out of your human resources, even though they're not your humans.
Yeah. I love that. And that's really what it comes down to, is getting you, going back to my example of the student loan consolidation place. We want our closers closing. You want people selling, doing what they're good at. Someone knows how to sell. If you hired properly, they're going to produce. You got to get X, 3X, 5X, 10X return on that particular rep. And that's how you, and then they make more money. Yeah. Those top producers that were taking inbound calls all day, they were young kids, 22, 25. This was in fucking 2005. They were making 150,000, 200,000 a year. Right. Back then, that's like 300 grand now, which is unheard of in the call center. And they're happy because they're not waiting for calls. They're not bored. They're talking. And listen, at the end of the day, it's like a drug, man. The more conversion you get, the better. And then you can grow. And then I want to say one other thing that's important that I don't want people to lose sight of, is that when you're running a call center, a sales center particularly, it's so important that people stick to the script. Yes. Right? And I tell you a good example. I was a good client of ours. I'll say their name, Momentum Solar. Love those guys. Really grew a lot with them. I consulted their call center way back in 2017. And I remember I was working with a top producer, and this guy, man, his tone wasn't the best tone. It's not that I couldn't understand what he was saying, but so I was going to try to fix him. But then I'm like, fuck, I realized, you know what he's good at? He was controlling the conversation. He kept things simple and sweet. He didn't get, everyone else was like, hi, this is X, whoever calling from ABC Solar or whatever. I'm calling because, you were online. How you doing today? Blah, blah, blah. Talking all this shit. Their average talk time, maybe 7 minutes. This guy's talk time was like 2 minutes. He was like, this is whatever, calling from this company, ABC Solar. Listen, you were online looking for solar. I want to see if you qualify. Are you, you're a 123 Main Street, okay? And how much is your electric bill? Okay, I got someone on the block. He can come there right now, or do you want them to come later? He was always closing, and that was the key. And when they would ask him technical questions, listen, that's not my department, but when they get there, they're going to answer that for you. So does this time work or that time work? He was constantly going for the close, which was setting the appointment. This guy's production was twice as good as the second best person. This guy was one of these guys making over maybe $250 a year, first job out of college. He was working twice as hard because he didn't want to go home. He had no kids, busting his ass, taking 2 calls at the time. He was an animal. So I realized we got to, this guy's our avatar. Everyone should follow his script. The problem is most people didn't do it. They felt uncomfortable. So you get and this is what I'm doing in my call center right now. And this is why it's working. I know how to script. I've been in sales for so fucking long. I've got people send me $1 million over the phone, millions, hundreds of thousands. So the point is, if you can have the knowledge of a good trainer who knows that script, put that into AI, have everyone singing from the same sheet of music. That's really how you scale. And that's what I love about your product.
That's so true. I mean, there's a lot of, I hear a lot of, does the AI have the rapport ability or the emotion or this or that? And there's ways that you can kind of get into that. But at the end of the day, what we're finding is calls are way shorter, way shorter, because it's going to get more to the point. It's going to stay away from the extra chit chat. The rapport, kind of like you're talking about, sometimes, maybe you need it, maybe it works. But in most industries, if you're using AI properly to kind of qualify and get to a closer, you really just want to stick to the nuts and bolts like you're talking. It's been amazing for you and amazing for many of our clients.
I can't emphasize that enough. That is so huge. And I think that's one of the hardest things about running a call center is that how do you get everyone to comply? How do you get everyone to get to work on time? How do you get everybody to use the damn script, not take excessive breaks, do this, do that?
Status of fucking lead the right way. So we know what our marketing's doing. And that's, the other thing with AI, you'll know what each lead source is doing perfectly, through kind of a fronting.
And again, going back to Columbia Card, I can't emphasize how many media buyers are putting up massive numbers. I mean, 100,000 plus a day in pay-per-call, and they have like 5% of their calls not being answered. 10% not being answered. You're talking about $5,000 to $10,000 a day in revenue, which is a lot of money. I mean, that's millions a year. So I think that's the other area you provide. We talked about it briefly, but I can't emphasize enough. If you're a pay-per-call guy and you have stuff hitting the floor, buyers unanswered, this is a great product for you.
It's a great solution. I mean, if nothing else, it can buy some more time until you can try to re-deliver the call. We connect with the Ring Buzz, the Retrievers of the world. I mentioned any dialer kind of system out there. So we're an open source integration. We can integrate with anything.
Sounds good. Anything I didn't touch upon here? Because I feel there's a lot. And
there's so much. I mean, we could talk for hours and hours. But I mean, it's simple. If you want to try it out, month to month. I told David before the show, I'll put a guarantee.
Guarantee, baby.
Guarantee.
Puts his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Who the fuck's doing that nowadays?
It's $500 for our cheapest plan, which is really for like sole props. I guess maybe we'll talk about that. Remind me about that. But we have it's per use. So you pay for the minutes you use. You don't pay any more. You don't pay any less. And with this solution we're talking about, I can have it up if you're doing outbound dialing, I can have it live in 2 days. In 24 hours, you know if it works. If it didn't work, I'll give you your money back.
Yeah, guarantee. That's awesome. I love that. I mean, we do the same thing.
Yeah.
We want everybody to win. It's win-win at the end of the day.
There was one other thing you'd asked about. And I just prepped myself. Home improvement.
Yeah.
So what we're doing for Toby, what we're working on doing with Toby now is he's running into the same thing Walker and those guys run into. When you're delivering calls, some of them aren't getting answered. So in home services, the problem is if you're delivering to these sole prop or small businesses, the tradesman, the plumber's under the sink, the roofer's on the roof. They can't answer all the calls. And then you get the battle of, well, I sent you the call. Well, I couldn't answer the call. Well, I don't want to pay for it. Well, I did what you paid me, right? So what we're doing now, and why I mentioned the sole prop, is home improvement companies are introducing us to the sole prop companies.
That's
for
huge.
$500 a month. We answer every call because they're not just missing yours, they're missing other leads, referrals, stuff like that. Ask a couple qualifiers, whatever they want to do. Schedule an appointment on their calendar, and all they have to do now is do their job, work their calendar. And that might be an in-home visit or typically make a call to the person to see if you want to do the in-home visit, but you eliminate your drop calls in home improvement. You could do the same in any other industry, but a lot of you guys know that if you're selling calls to, I don't want to call out any industry, but industry X, let's say debt, because I know debt well. So if you're selling calls to a debt company and they miss it, they don't care, right? They're just worried about keeping their guys on the phones. So it'll work for some, it won't work for all. But if you can push your buyers to do it.
Yeah, that's a pain point. When I first started solo direct marketing, I took any client I could.
Yeah.
It was just me and somebody else. And man, you call them like trucks in the truck, right? Is what they are. And then we morphed. We realized there was just too it's a pain in the ass because you can give them the greatest lead in the world, but it's a contact sport. If they're not calling that lead right away, or they're not borderline harassing them, they're not going to convert those leads, and then they're going to say the leads suck.
Right.
So the point is that I think it's an underserved market. I mean, right now we just work with enterprise people that have 100+ people in their call centers and whatnot. So I think those groups, they go to like the big aggregators, and then they're complaining about the leads, but at the end of the day, if you're not working the lead properly, it's really on you. So this is a great service because small businesses are the backbone of America's the economy, right? So if they can't work the lead properly and they're pissing away money, they can't grow, they can't reinvest. So I think that's the beauty about what you do, especially in this inflationary environment. Shit is expensive as hell. Everyone wants to save money and reinvest. And business owners, listen, we like to take that money and reinvest it back to grow and grow and grow. So you're helping us do that. And you're helping us do that in Colombia, which I'm grateful for, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, that's what we find. I mean, if you can help the small guy, like you said, and you're the media buyer that turned them on to
everybody wins.
They're going to come back.
Yeah. And that's what you should do. As a media buyer, you should have your clients talk to guys like Neil. I've done that so much. That's one reason I've grown. That's one reason I'm invited to speak at all these events. Dialers, paper call providers, AI, because it's worked for me. So I want my clients to grow. If it's worked for me, the more my client grows, the more leads they can buy from me, right? Yeah. The more I grow with them. And I'm not just another lead vendor. I'm someone's helping them grow, and we're growing together. And that's fun at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Good shit. Yeah. So guys, you heard it. You heard the guarantee. We have a link here. Click the link. Hit up his team. Let's fucking go.
Let's do it.